That water dispenser you see right there, seemingly harmless and filled with crystal clear water, may actually be acting as a chemical barrier that is silencing your bird right now. This is not an exaggeration, it is biology. The mistake you are making with your bird's water may be one of the reasons your canary has stopped practicing its songs, or why its singing sounds weak, hoarse, and lacks the power you have been looking for. Many breeders believe that simply changing the water every day is enough. But they overlook something called bacterial biofilm, as well as the impact of water pH on the syrinx, the vocal organ of your bird. Today, you are going to discover why the water you provide may be one of the switches that turns your canary's singing off, and how a simple science-based adjustment may help improve its vocal performance. I'm Ruan, and this is Planet Birds, where we don't just teach you what works, we explain why it works, always based on the science and biology of birds. Before I reveal the exact solution, you need to understand something important. A canary that isn't singing is not necessarily a sad canary. It may be a canary whose biological system is prioritizing survival over reproduction. Singing requires energy and is closely connected to hormonal health. If your bird's throat is irritated by excessive chlorine exposure or an underlying fungal problem, its body may reduce the drive to sing in order to protect its tissues. If you care about your bird's health and want it to become one of the best singers in your area, hit the like button right now, because what I'm about to reveal is something you won't find in most generic bird forums. The first major secret that almost nobody talks about is the problem of biofilm inside plastic water dispensers. Even if you rinse the container with water, a microscopic, slippery layer can develop inside it, allowing bacteria to multiply and potentially irritate the delicate tissues involved in vocalization. The canary's syrinx is an incredible structure, capable of producing two different sounds simultaneously. But it is also extremely sensitive to the bird's overall hydration and health. If the water is poorly maintained or contaminated with microorganisms, the delicate tissues involved in sound production may not function optimally. Imagine trying to play a violin with damaged strings. No matter how talented the musician is, the sound will never be perfect. And here is where things get interesting. Many breeders use tap water, believing that chlorine simply disappears if the water is left standing. But chlorine is not the only concern. Chloramines, which are much more stable and do not evaporate as easily, can remain in the water and may contribute to chronic irritation depending on the concentration and water quality. For a canary to sing with strength and consistency, it also needs a diet capable of supplying the energy required for its vocal muscles. Singing is an energetically demanding activity, requiring oxygen, glucose, and efficient metabolism. If you feed your bird nothing but canary seed, you may be providing a basic diet to an animal with the energy demands of a high-performance athlete. But before we get into the master diet, let's talk about dopamine and the endocrine system. Birdsong is influenced by hormones, including testosterone, and healthy hormone production depends on adequate nutrition, essential fats, minerals, and overall metabolic health. If poor quality water or an unbalanced diet interferes with your bird's ability to maintain proper hydration and nutrient balance, it may never reach the physical condition necessary for peak vocal performance. And now we come to a secret that many experienced breeders pay close attention to: water temperature and quality. If the water is extremely cold, it may be uncomfortable for your bird, particularly when it is already experiencing respiratory or throat irritation. For everyday drinking, water should generally be provided at a comfortable, moderate temperature and kept fresh and clean. Some breeders also use a small amount of organic apple cider vinegar, but this should never be treated as a universal solution or a substitute for proper hygiene and veterinary care. Its purpose is not to clean the bird. Rather, some breeders use it as part of their management routine to influence the acidity of the drinking water and digestive environment. However, excessive acidification can be harmful, so any supplementation should be approached carefully. If you are enjoying this scientific approach and want to improve the lives of your birds based on real biology rather than myths from 50 years ago, subscribe to Planet Birds right now. When you subscribe, you become part of a community that understands that aviculture is a science of precision. The benefit is simple: healthier birds, stronger and more consistent singing, and the satisfaction of understanding exactly why your aviary stands out from the rest. Don't miss the opportunity to become an expert. Hit the subscribe button. Now, let's talk about nutritional density. For food and water to support healthy vocal performance, your canary needs essential amino acids such as lysine and methionine. These nutrients are building blocks for proteins and muscles throughout the body, including the structures involved in breathing and vocalization. And there is another component that almost nobody talks about enough: vitamin A. Without adequate vitamin A, the epithelial tissues lining the respiratory tract can become compromised. That can affect your bird's comfort and respiratory health, making strong vocalization more difficult. The mistake with water that may contribute to poor singing is often treating water as nothing more than a liquid, instead of recognizing it as an important part of your bird's overall health management. Did you know that oxidative stress can also affect the long-term health of a bird's tissues? Canaries that sing frequently have high metabolic demands. If their diet does not provide adequate antioxidants and essential nutrients, tissues can be affected over time. That is why you may see young canaries singing beautifully, while older birds gradually lose vocal performance. At Planet Birds, we believe prevention and proper biological management are essential. Seeds containing beneficial fatty acids, such as flaxseed and perilla, can be incorporated into a balanced diet in appropriate amounts. But let's return to the water problem. There is another mineral that deserves attention: iodine. Iodine is essential for normal thyroid function. An underactive thyroid can affect metabolism, energy levels, and overall physiological function. However, if you are using reverse osmosis water exclusively, you may be removing many minerals from the water. This creates an important paradox. You may think you are providing pure water, but depending on the bird's overall diet, extremely demineralized water may not be the best long-term choice. The answer is not automatically tap water, and it is not automatically distilled water either. The goal is to provide safe, clean drinking water while ensuring that your bird receives all essential minerals through a properly balanced diet. Another critical factor is the relationship between light and nutrient metabolism. No matter how perfect your seed mixture is, your bird also needs appropriate exposure to light and adequate vitamin D metabolism. Vitamin D plays an important role in calcium and mineral regulation. A canary kept in a dark environment, given poorly maintained water, and fed an inadequate diet, may struggle to maintain optimal physiological condition. Its body may effectively enter an energy conservation state. The secret to encouraging healthy singing is to break that cycle through proper environmental and nutritional management. And this is where things get really interesting. There is a biological mechanism behind seasonal singing. When environmental conditions, daylight, nutrition, and overall health signal abundance and reproductive readiness, the bird's brain can interpret those signals as: it's spring, resources are available, it's safe to sing and attract a mate. This is not about forcing the bird. It is about supporting the natural biological signals that regulate its behavior through proper nutrition and management. A balanced seed mixture may include high-quality canary seed as the foundation, with smaller amounts of seeds such as Niger, perilla, and hemp, depending on the bird's nutritional needs and the guidance of an avian professional. But remember, all of this becomes much less effective if the water dispenser contains the same slippery biofilm we talked about at the beginning. Birds have extremely high metabolic rates, which means nutritional and environmental problems can sometimes become noticeable quickly. If you correct the water management problem today by thoroughly cleaning the dispenser, rinsing it properly, and providing fresh, safe drinking water, you may notice improvements in your bird's overall behavior. It may become more active. It may stretch more frequently. It may groom its feathers with greater enthusiasm. And eventually, you may begin hearing those first exploratory notes again. That is the power of applying biology correctly. Don't listen to people who say a canary simply sings because it wants to. A canary sings when its biological, environmental, hormonal, and behavioral conditions support singing. At Planet Birds, our philosophy is simple. Everything has a biological explanation. If your canary has a dry or irritated throat, respiratory problems, or discomfort caused by poor water hygiene, don't expect it to perform like Pavarotti. Give its body the environmental and nutritional support it needs. The difference between an average breeder and a true expert is often attention to the details that most people never notice. So here is your action plan for today. First, review the quality and safety of your drinking water. Second, thoroughly clean and disinfect your water dispensers. And if possible, choose materials that are easy to clean and less likely to develop scratches and build up. Third, never add acids or supplements to drinking water casually. If you use them, make sure they are appropriate for birds and used at safe concentrations. Fourth, strengthen the overall diet with appropriate essential nutrients and fatty acids to support your bird's health and vocal system. Do this, and you will not only be addressing the water-related mistake discussed in this video, you will be improving the entire biological foundation of your canary's health. Knowledge is power, but only when you put it into practice. You have learned more about the biology behind canary singing in these few minutes than many people learn after years in the hobby. So don't let this video be just entertainment. Go to your bird's cage right now and inspect that water dispenser. Run your finger along the bottom and inside surface. Do you feel that slippery layer? That may be biofilm. Clean it, replace the water, and get ready to see the difference proper hygiene and management can make. And if you want to go even deeper into how nutrition can influence not only singing, but also the color, condition, and posture of your birds, you need to watch the next video that will appear on your screen. There, I'll explain the potential benefits of sprouted seeds and why germination changes the nutritional profile of seeds. Thank you for trusting Planet Birds and the science behind our passion. I'm Ruan, and I'll see you at the next level of professional aviculture. Click the video on your screen now and keep optimizing your aviary.